Hi, I'm Peter Shinkoda, and I play Nobu-san on Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix, and you're watching Bean Dip Explains It All on Stan Lee's World of Heroes and Villains. So stay tuned today, because you're going to learn everything you need to know about the Man Without Fear, aka Daredevil.
Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, is the resident Marvel Comics superhero of Hell's Kitchen, a neighborhood in New York City. He's also a blind lawyer. Blind, like he can't see at all, because his eyes don't work. But he can still do flippy flips and jumpy jumps and punchy punch bad guys in the facey face. Daredevil / Matt Murdock was created by writer Stan Lee and artist Bill Everett, and first appeared in Daredevil #1, published on April 10th, 1964. It was written by Stan Lee, co-creator or creator of almost every great character ever except for Batman. It was penciled by artist Bill Everett, creator of Namor the Submariner and descendant of poet William Blake. It was lettered by Sam Rosen, one of the greatest comic book letterers of all time. Inks were done by Steve Ditko, who is the co-creator of Spider-Man, and the cover was done by Jack Kirby, co-creator of Captain America, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and the Hulk. Daredevil #1 explores the origin of the most unusual hero of all, Matt Murdock. There's a lot of quotes because I'm quoting stuff. That's what that means. It's not rabbits with floppy ears. His father is aging boxing prizefighter battling Jack Murdock. The neighborhood kids mockingly call him Daredevil because he's not. He spends all his time studying, doesn't go outside, doesn't play with them, and they think he's a big old sissy. In response to this, Matt begins training in a rigorous physical routine. He lifts weights, he punches boxing things, rowing machine, jumping jacks, pulling trucks with his teeth. He just does all kinds of athletic stuff and gets all strong, and muscular and junk, and attractive. In order to support his son, Battling Murdock makes a deal with a gangster named the Fixer. Battling Murdock can't get fights anywhere else. This is the only guy who will get him fights. Now, at the exact moment that Battling Jack Murdock makes this deal with the Fixer, Matt Murdock saves a blind man from an oncoming truck and is splashed in the face by radioactive chemicals the truck is carrying. As a result, Matt loses his sight. Matt Murdock's other senses, touch, smell, taste, hearing, all go into overdrive to compensate for his lost sight. But they become far more powerful than average and enable him to do everything he could better than he could before. Like flippy flips and jumpy jumps, pulling trucks with his teeth, and being much more attractive because blind men are mysterious. No, seriously, like every girl that shows up in the comics, they're like, ooh, a blind man. It's true. Read the comics. Just read them. You see what I'm talking about. So Matt goes off to college, rooms with his new buddy Franklin Foggy Nelson, and studies law. And more good news, Battling Jack Murdock is winning a whole bunch of fights, and Foggy and Matt have tickets to the next one. Yay! But the fights were all fixed by the Fixer. And now Jack Murdock is ordered by the Fixer to take a dive. He refuses the Fixer's direction and wins the fight. And the Fixer has him shot and killed. Matt graduates from college, and he and Foggy open their own law firm. Foggy hires a woman named Karen Page as their secretary. Now, Karen would go on to be the longest enduring love interest of Matt Murdock in the entire series of Daredevil. Matt finally decides to bring his father's killers to justice. So Matt creates an alter ego to do the job. Matt sews his own costume by hand, able to tell the difference in colors by the feel of the fabric. He names his new persona Daredevil, after the insulting nickname he was given as a child. This costume is yellow and red with a single D on the front and looks a lot like the costumes of acrobats or professional wrestlers at the time, except it had little horns. Matt also adds a leg holster and masterfully crafts his cane into a folding weapon with hinges and poppy-outy things that he uses to beat bad guys and throw at them and swing from flagpoles. Matt beats the snot out of the Fixer's men, chases the Fixer and the Triggerman Slade into the subway, where the Fixer dies of a heart attack, and Matt convinces the Triggerman Slade into confessing his crimes to the transit police. In Daredevil #7, written by Stan Lee and penciled by artist Wally Wood, Daredevil reveals his redesigned, iconic red costume. Daredevil's origin is reimagined several years later by writer Frank Miller, and is expanded in the 1993-1994 5-issue series, Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, written by Frank Miller and penciled by artist John Romita Jr. Young Matt Murdock is just a punk kid, and his father, Battling Jack Murdock, is a washed-up alcoholic boxer. Jack Murdock is strong-armed by a gangster named the Fixer into being an enforcer for the mob. Jack doesn't want his son Matt to fight, so when Matt comes home from school one day saying he punched a kid, Jack punches him. Mind you, this is a professional boxer hitting a 10-year-old kid. Rules and laws stop people from being bad, so Matt decides to study them. He saves a blind dude from a truck and gets the old chemical in the eye, go blind treatment again, except he's a lot younger this time when it happens. A blind sensei named Stick shows up and trains Matt how to use his newfound heightened senses with ninjutsu. Stick was created by Frank Miller and first appeared in Daredevil number 176 in 1981. Stick is the leader of a mystical martial arts enclave called the Chast that is in a constant sort of holy war against this demon-led ninja clan called the Hand. There's also a guy named Stone who works for the Chast, so you have Stick and Stone, and there's a Shaft. Shut your mouth! She's talking about Shaft. Battling Jack Murdock gets his championship fight again, and he's told to throw the fight, but he doesn't, so he's killed again. But this time, he is beaten half to death first. His teeth are knocked out, he's roughed up by like 8 guys, and the Fixer himself is the one who pulls the trigger. Matt, now a young teenager, uses his ninja training from Stick and hunts down and brutally beats everyone involved with his father's killing. Matt tracks the last thug standing, a guy named Angelo, to a brothel, where Matt is attacked by the prostitutes there. In the scuffle, he knocks a hooker out a window, and she dies when she hits the pavement below. I think Frank Miller just really likes killing hookers. Like in everything he does, a hooker just has to die. I think Frank Miller is Jack the Ripper. Matt goes to college, meets Foggy, etc. Also meets a young woman named Elektra. Elektra was created by Frank Miller and first appeared in Daredevil number 168 in 1981. Elektra was also trained by the Chast, but was ultimately rejected because she's murderous and insane and heard evil voices that told her to kill people and do things. Matt dates her. She leaves him, he leaves New York. He comes back to New York on a case to find that Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, has taken over the New York underworld. The Kingpin was created by Stan Lee and artist John Romita Sr. and first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 50. Matt befriends a 14-year-old girl who is kidnapped by the Kingpin's film division that makes child pornographic snuff films. Matt dons an all-black getup except for his white sneakers with this like half-face mask black do-rag thing and goes to save the girl. In 2001 and 2002, Daredevil's origin was again reimagined, this time by writer Jeff Loeb and artist Tim Sale. This was done in the 6-issue series Daredevil Yellow. This time, Daredevil's origin is told in flashbacks that coincide with a letter he's writing to Karen Page. In these 6 issues, we see Daredevil's origin unfold in much the same way as it did in Daredevil number 1, but with a few significant changes. Matt sews Daredevil's original yellow and red costume out of his father's old boxing robes to honor him. There is a greatly stressed prominence and importance on the character of Karen Page. Matt Murdock has dated several women throughout the years, and when he dated the Black Widow, it was the first time in comics that an unmarried couple lived together. But Karen Page has been the longest running relationship Matt Murdock has had. In this origin, it is Karen Page that becomes Matt Murdock's inspiration for heroics. Karen Page, who gives Daredevil the title The Man Without Fear. And Karen Page, who suggested an all-red costume to better reflect the fearsome name Daredevil. At the end of this truly beautifully crafted and illustrated story, it's revealed that Karen Page is dead, and Matt is writing this letter to deal with his grief. Karen Page was killed by villain Bullseye in Daredevil Volume 2, Number 5 in 1999. Daredevil has had many adventures throughout his time in comics, and he's teamed up with both heroes and villains alike. He's suffered from quasi-multiple personality disorder on several occasions. He was part of a team called the Defenders, and later he was also part of a team called Marvel Knights. His first animated television appearance was in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, where he was voiced by Frank Welker. His first live-action television appearance was in the 1989 made-for-television film, The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, where he was played by actor Rex Smith. In the 2003 feature film, Daredevil is played by Ben Affleck. Actor Charlie Cox played Daredevil and Matt Murdock in the Netflix original series Marvel's Daredevil. Scary villains like Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and Nobu-san, played by our friend Peter Shinkoda. This version of the titular hero is based largely on Frank Miller's The Man Without Fear. For this episode of Bean Dip Explains It All, which is about Daredevil, one of the greatest comic book characters of all time, we asked its co-creator, Stan Lee, what his 3 favorite things about his creation were. Stan Lee's number 1. I like the fact that, although he's blind, he can see and hear better than normal people. Stan Lee's number 2. And I quote, I like his costume. Stan Lee's number 3. I like the fact that his cane can turn into a weapon for him. Enough said.
Thanks everyone for watching. If you have any more questions, just leave questions in the comment section below. And if you need anything explained, you can reach out to me at my social handles. Good luck.